And welcome back to the Sort of Truth podcast, a chapter-by-chapter reread of the Sort of Truth series with a bitter craft brew on the side. I'm Jade, and I'm here with Nate and Aaron, and today we're trying to find the common ground of Chapter 30 of Soul of Fire.
Yeah, I mean, I know we all really don't like each other, but if we can just suffer through this for the next hour with each other, I mean, maybe, we can eventually get along.
I wanted to spend some time talking about how I really appreciated how you started that intro a little on the bitter side, but then by the end I was like comforted. It was like, oh, we found common ground. Like you did like a cool metaphoric thing. And then this motherfucker just goes, I don't like you. And I kind of feel like, now I want to talk about that.
That's the kind of stuff that makes you bitter.
Yeah.
You know, when you've been dealing with that for, I don't know, about 16 years,
About how long?
17 years.
And you said you've been married for 16,
Yeah.
17. Interesting.
Weird. I don't see any correlation there.
Well, hey, I'm just glad we're here and we're communicating things.
Yeah,
And,
it's
you
good.
know,
It's healthy.
Yeah, communication.
That's not the what thing it's
I know.
Yeah, okay.
I know, it's collaboration.
The concept is important. The concept is just to holler things that are good for
Let's
you to
start
do
with
with
C.
other people.
No, the important thing,
Consensual sex.
the important thing is the hip thrusting. I'm going to be real honest. That's
You
the only
have
part
to
I
do a
care
hip
about.
thrust. Yeah. Whether it's collaboration or doing your taxes, you got to shake the hips.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to It Takes Two.
It Takes
Just
Two.
Wonderful video game.
It's great. But that's today's moment of truth, I think. You know, just communication, collaboration. It helps keep out the bitter and find the common ground or whatever.
Feels
you know?
clean. Feels good. What?
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Or whatever.
You know?
Or whatever. There was hope in your message for a second there, and you're like, but if not, meh.
Can I
Don't
be
commit too hard. That's the other lesson for today.
Can I be real honest? The or whatever part feels fitting for this group of chapters that we've been diving into lately and will continue to do. So, I mean, I think it fits.
People's attitudes in this book, maybe.
Yeah. Or whatever.
Or whatever. So to recap, Richard convinced Kaylin that the chimes are indeed here in the world. That's it. That's what happened in the last chapter.
The end of the last chapter was literally like, Kaylin knows for sure now.
Yeah.
Just a hard confirmation.
Which is great because listen, I do know that it's because we're reading it chapter by chapter, but it feels like it's been drawn out for a very long time in this book. Like, so thank God we're all on the same page. We know we can move past that very basic knowledge now.
We're still from the beginning of the book. Really, we're only a few days in, tops. Like there was a day, there was that night, there was the morning with the chicken, and then they started to leave the following day.
I don't know how many days they've been traveling. I was thinking more like a week. Maybe like 7 days.
It's been a few weeks because when we were with Fitch.
Oh, yeah.
Time passed. So we know that it's been
Okay.
Now with Richard and Kaylin, we haven't had that time pass while we're with them.
Mm-hmm.
It was only a couple days at first. We left them for a couple weeks in Fitch time and came back, and it's only been a day or two.
They fast traveled, but it was like a 2-week loading time to get to where they were going. Because as we know, they don't talk to each other while they travel.
Right?
It's dead silence until we get back in with them.
Just maintain intensity and stare forward.
Yeah. It's
It's so fucking freaky.
Or whatever.
or whatever.
It's like when you don't talk in the car. It's always weird.
So Kaylin's acceptance about the chimes has quieted everybody's doubts in the group. Everybody's kind of on board now, and now that she is. She was the one holdout that was making everybody kind of doubt things. Because, she's a voice of the people.
She is in a position of power. Absolutely.
Richard isn't sure what to do next, except that he knows he needs to ask Do why the fuck she's here. She is fucking annoyed, and he apparently doesn't understand why she's annoyed and does not give a fuck. Everybody needs to strap in for like the next chapter and a half or so.
Yeah.
Because his attitude is astounding to most of the members of the group at the table here.
Yeah.
it's how blatantly hypocritical it is. I don't give a fuck and don't want to understand why she's here. Really, I wonder why she's upset.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder why she's upset, my dude.
Oh, and that's just the beginning of it. It
Yeah.
gets quite a bit worse.
It's almost like she's a human with, like, feelings.
Almost.
A full life that has maybe not as serious or as world-ending. And perspective is what's important. So maybe you have a world-ending threat. However, Duchailu having something happen to her village probably feels like a world-ending threat to her. And
that is her whole world right now.
And when you just have zero attempts at sympathy, empathy, understanding, or reason, it's amazing when people get upset about that. What a fucking wild concept.
Perspective. You know what? I think that's an interesting word because I think that is maybe why he and the reader are supposed to not give a fuck about Dew because Dew never got a chapter.
She's a side character.
We've never, ever
Strictly.
gotten her perspective, actually. Just what she says. So you're not supposed to, like, nope. She's not a person.
You just mentioned that we've never gotten a chapter through her perspective, and that's true. I never realized that before. She's not the equivalent to a Fitch character as far as Terry is concerned. I mean, she's a major player. She's a character we've seen multiple times now, but that's really fucking interesting.
Well,
I never thought of that before.
Like we've seen Dref. Like we had point of view from Dref, from Darken, I believe multiple or at least one Sister of the Dark a few times. We have gotten other people's and other side characters perspectives before. So yeah, it is like we only have Richard's thoughts of the situation about Duchailu.
Yeah.
And that's obvious.
I was just going to ask, and I'm not trying to sidebar us. We can move on. But as far as, I know I'm going to bring it up again, Denna, Nadine, or Duchailu are concerned, have we gotten perspective chapters on Denna and Nadine also?
I think we did with Denna, because it seems like there was something about Denna around the time when Richard was like asking to go with Constance instead.
So we did with Denna.
Yeah.
And then if we didn't, then with Nadine or Duchailu, then that means there might be a theme there with both of them that Terry was trying to do with the way the reader perceives those specific people.
The difference, though, Richard respected Nadine. I think that there is a theme where Richard has kind of given respect to most women that he's encountered in his life.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, that's true. Richard's a good old boy.
Duchailu,
most of the time.
In general, he has been kind to her and saved her life, but he doesn't really respect her, and he hasn't really respected her. And I think that's maybe the difference between her and other people. And I don't know if that is I don't know if there's a good reason for that other than maybe who she is and where she's from, which is doesn't taste good. But I don't know. We should maybe get into that a little bit deeper in a side path or an off the path because
I was going to say, I don't trust this at all. So it almost feels weird relaying this. But the AI overview on Google, which again, should not be considered a very good source of information without double checking, but it is saying that we did not get any chapters from Denna's or Nadine's perspective.
Interesting.
Or Duchailu's. So there could be a meta thing going on here of Terry doing this and saying like, hey, I'm going to do this thing where like, no, you don't get their perspective.
We as the readers don't get to know exactly what was going on in their heads.
Right.
We can only judge them based on their actions.
Like our boy Dalt. Like we have Dalt's perspective where he's like, hey, these things that are about to happen, they're going to be bad. So like we don't have to guess if Dalt's a good guy or a bad guy. We know
his intentions.
Yeah. Duchailu? No idea.
Yeah. Well, you don't get to empathize with her either as a person.
Yeah. Much harder to. Like it takes 100% of your own effort. There are no canon, lore accurate Duchailu perspectives.
Yeah.
You got to get there on your own.
Yeah. So she does tell him of their journey on the way here and how difficult it was and chides him for not giving a fucking shit about how hard it was for them to get here. because they fucking tried. They traveled from the old world to get here on their feet. They walked a long way, and I don't like to walk. Okay, I do, but you gotta have good shoes. And I bet you, honestly, they probably don't have good shoes.
Nah, they ain't got Skechers. They ain't got those extra comfort Skechers. Their feet are hurting.
Yeah.
I also think it's interesting that it's 3 Midwest folk talking about this, because that's where a lot of my ire's coming from. And it's like, yeah, you know what? Do you know what you do when you see someone? You go, hey, how you doing? How's your day? Did you get here all right? You ask those questions because you are Midwest nice and you don't give a shit. But you ask anyway.
You tell them to drive safe.
You tell them to watch out for deer. You tell your folks I says hi, and then you tell them we'll see you soon.
Hey, keep warm. Yeah, we'll see you soon.
Richard didn't do any of this.
That's the polite thing to do.
There's just there's a huge difference between Midwest culture and where's he from?
Westland.
Westland is apparently not close to the Midwest. Those are apparently far apart. Rude.
Yeah, she's carrying a fucking baby because of him. Yeah. And all, it reminds her of all that bullshit that she had to go through and worrying about her kids not having a mom to come back to. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't give a shit about his people. These are his people now and their laws. And he doesn't know any of them, so he just doesn't care. You weren't raised that way, so you don't give a fuck about how important these ancient laws are to us. And honestly, you have proof that some of this shit is real because you danced with the spirits when you did that. So, motherfucker, just shut the fuck up and stop arguing with us about the things that we know to be true.
It's like he didn't really learn his lesson with the mud people because he came in and they said, yo, we need 3 days. And he's like, do it in 4 hours. And he he's a part of them and they love Richard. They're in the community now, but also he's still disrespecting their culture because it's not important. Then there's Duchailu and the Bakatao Mana whole situation now. Yeah, I nailed it. What? What?
Humble too.
He's the most humble. He'll let you know.
Yeah. I'll tell you. That he's not really respecting their culture either is not that much of a shock to me because he didn't learn his lesson with the mud people.
Richard being disrespectful to other groups of people's culture is wildly on character for him. Mm-hmm. Because it's any culture he's gone to is dumb from he doesn't understand. He tolerates it at best.
Well, he doesn't need to understand because it doesn't matter because it doesn't really exist and it's all just fake fun for them.
Well,
right?
And he's the seeker of truth, so what he thinks is true,
right? Well,
or whatever,
or whatever. Yeah, see, it softens things, So they were promised a Caharan, and she would think that after everything they fucking suffered for him to learn what he had to learn to be the great motherfucker that he is today, that he would honor them and treat them with some fucking respect. She even grieved in private, and she hasn't complained about those deaths to him. Like, this is the first time she's bringing it up to him because she's pissed off in this moment, and he doesn't even ask how she or the kids are without all those men that he fucking killed, their dead husbands, or dads, or whatever the fuck they were, the assorted people.
The important part is they were loved and now they're dead.
Yes.
That's all that matters.
Yes. And now her new one, who's supposed to be the great motherfucker king of their, Caharan, is out getting new wives. And she's just supposed to shut the fuck up and deal with it. And he didn't even tell the new wife about her. Like, she didn't even exist. Like, I'm not even a fucking person. And now you want me to talk? Mm-hmm. You want me to talk and tell you why I'm here, motherfucker? Okay. And then she spits at him and says, he shamed her, and then she turns away. And I honestly, good for Do.
Yeah, I'm good with this.
Yeah.
Jade, we were talking about this off air about something not related at all until right now. I enjoy seeing rude people get the consequences of their actions.
Getting told.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, again, we said too, usually the problem with that is that there's no learning to be had. So it usually just makes things worse because they don't understand that, like, hey, this is happening to you now because of your own actions.
Yeah. It falls on deaf ears.
Yeah. And they go, but I didn't do anything wrong. So you're like, I'm still the victim. And it's like, no, all right, well, you're not any smarter than you were 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. No. You were just being an asshole for talking to me that way. Not.
Yeah. But hey, when you get to sit back and see the whole thing happen, boy, I like it. Like this, good for do. Stick up for yourself. You get treated like shit, and all of a sudden someone's like, all right, now that I'm ready, after being disrespectful to you, now tell me things because it's convenient for me. Hey, you know what? Not convenient for me to tell you right now. Yeah. I'm not ready to talk at the moment. Fuck you, buddy.
Well, speaking of what you were just talking about how it falls on deaf ears, he gets mad back and says, you can't blame me for those deaths, as you could have stopped it. I told you to stop it in the first place. And she's like, first of all, you did have a choice. It's not like you didn't. You could have just fucking died.
You could have died.
It would have been 1 death instead of 30, and you're so into, like, saving people's lives. Isn't that the right thing to do? And I also just want to point out, she didn't blame you until she got mad. Like, she literally sucked it the fuck up and was like, you killed all my people, and that was a thing that had to happen until, like, right now, because she's mad. So, like, shut the fuck up, Richard. But no, instead, he shakes a finger at her and says, you expect me to be murdered after I saved you, and, like, he brought peace and saved many more people, and she doesn't fucking get it. Dude was like, dude, you're wrong. I do understand a lot. She wasn't attacking him. She was just telling him that she was frustrated because she came here on a very long journey to tell him some important information of some kind, and he's being a fucking dickbag.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's not really letting her. I mean, they're arguing with each other, and there's other reasons too that she has to be mad that I think we might have skipped over. Is it in the next? Okay, we're not gonna. Future Nate, just go ahead and. Anyways.
Future Nate, listen to me. The code is 5, 12, Echo, Darling, Tango, 7.
Yes, comrade. So I think this is where Richard does his thing where he's arguing a separate point. The thing that Richard is pointing to is the fact that he has saved all the other dudes in his situation going through that land, having to go through this and dying. But isn't the fact that Richard is the guy that the prophecies are talking about, doesn't that mean that he's going to be the last one anyways? So he didn't really stop anybody else. They've done it for as long as they've been doing it. And so that's all done now. So the thing that he's arguing about isn't even a valid point. Chailu's got him on the ropes is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, yeah.
No, you're not right. Yeah, exactly. And he's like, I had to kill them because I had to save a whole bunch of other people. Yeah, exactly. You had to kill them to learn how to dance with the fucking spirits, right? So I couldn't have stopped it. That had to happen. I knew that because of my old laws. Motherfucker, if you listen to me, you might understand some things. Which he does. Even though he's treating her like a simpleton who doesn't understand anything because she's wearing a fucking spirit dress.
It also does feel just a bit like Richard is saying, well, I had to survive because I'm special. Mm-hmm. And that's it. Mm-hmm. Like, which is not untrue, but also, it doesn't look good on just paper.
I think some of it is like it's the Batman philosophy. It's the good guy philosophy problem. Can you be a good guy and kill someone? Because I love this. Maybe we'll do an off the path where we get into the philosophy of like killing in self-defense, where it's accident, like premeditated. Because can you be a good person if you take someone's life at any point in time? Even if it's in defense.
We're not doing that right now.
No. But it's the idea that, like, Richard is saying, like, it was kill or be killed. I'm a good guy, so I have to do a bad thing so I can continue to be a good person for other people. Similar to, like, how we were talking about, like, if there was a good company and the company said they were good and, like, we believe in charity, there's a very simplified altruistic view of, like, well, then you can't make a profit because you should give all your money to charity, instead of pocketing any of it. And it's like, well, if we pocket some of the money, we will be able to continue to do more good things and in theory have a greater, more good impact on the world. There is a more altruistic thing, though, of like, but you had an opportunity to be 100% good and you were only 80% good. So it's like, you're like, Richard, yes, if you want there to be less killing in the world, You should have let one of them kill you because then only one person would have died that day. Instead, you killed 30. However, there's a whole lot more going on.
Yeah.
It's not that simple.
No.
I like what Duchailu's doing. I think the thread got lost a little bit here in some philosophical bullshit, but she's still mostly correct.
Yeah. Well, Kara at this point is like, hey. We need to calm things down. I'm gonna take Dew. We're gonna have a little girl talk, and she goes to grab Dew and walk away. And I think that maybe I'm gonna take this opportunity to grab you guys and walk to the fridge for a little beer break. How about that?
Oh, yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, we're gonna go do that. We'll be back right after this.
Hey, Nate, what are we drinking today?
Today we are drinking the power of love. Raspberry and rosemary ale blended with lemonade.
Ooh.
The power of love is full of sweetly herb-filled aromas and takes your mouth on a ride from sweet lemon flavor to a shock of tart raspberry before disappearing entirely from your palate. An incredible beverage adventure worthy of time travel. Which, canonically,
bullshit.
we've done. So this
Wait.
is the beer for us.
I don't think you're allowed to drink this beer, Nate. I'm sorry.
I
Are there
promise,
any rocks nearby?
Yeah, if you throw a rock at this beer, dude.
I promise not to throw the beer either.
That would be a waste of a beer,
my
and we would be
God.
fighting.
Maybe I can twist the cannon just enough to every time I crack a beer, I am able to time travel.
I blacked out. What's the percentage?
This beer clocks in at 3.1%. But what is this ABW? Is this alcohol by weight? 2.42?
By volume.
By volume's 3.1. That's the ABV.
I mean, here's what I'm going to say.
It's low. It's tasty and not super strong, but it's very tart.
I'm giving this a 10 out of 10.
Oh!
This is a beautiful beer.
Do we need fireworks?
No, it's not. It's fucking, wait for it. Wait for it. Yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, there we go.
There, I'm sure all that'll patch in just fine.
Yes, anyway, after that very lovely round of applause, I'm like flabbergasted. I don't know why. I know I've had beers that probably taste similar to this. I know I've had raspberry, I've had lemonade. Rosemary's the one that's throwing me off. I don't know how many
That's
beers
new.
I've had that have had rosemary in them. This is a flavor that like just immediately made everything tingle. I love this. The fact that you said this is a 3% beer,
Yeah.
I can legitimately, without sounding like an alcoholic, drink this all day.
All day.
And that's all I want to do.
Do you know what this qualifies as?
This is a river beer.
This is a crushable beer.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
This is a river beer.
Poundable.
All day long.
This is a poundable beer.
I am giving this 10 out of 10 hearts. I'm in love. The power this beer has is to make me fall in love
This
with
is
it.
probably an even better river beer than a lot of the ones we've done, because a lot of them, you probably shouldn't be drinking if you have your children with you on the river and there's not a sober adult.
It is
Because
important to
if
drink
you-
responsibly.
If you drink a lot of them, by the end of the river, you can't feel your legs and you're just stumbling around and you're like, yeah, we're waiting for the cars. Somebody better deflate these things, you know? And it's not super good. This, you probably won't end up like that at the end.
This is perfect for that. I do want to clarify. Jade gets that way. Nate's the captain when we're going down the river.
I said there's
and I am
irresponsible
very
adult.
responsible. Yeah.
Yes, there is
we're
one
good.
with us.
We're safe. Yeah.
It is weird to get to the end of a river and then be like, there's people that rely on me to live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I'm drunk.
I've been too drunk to get out before.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
And that has not happened in many, many
I'm
years.
10 out of 10,
I
baby.
will also say that my children, until like 3 years ago, told me they didn't know they had never seen me drunk. So, despite me being very drunk on our river trips, they didn't know. So it's fine.
Yeah. You hold it together very, very well.
Kids are
What's your
dumb.
rating, Jade?
It's probably like a 9. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good beer.
I'm going to be honest. I think I'm at a 10.
9 sprigs of
I think
rosemary.
this is straight up a 10 because you can drink it all day. There's no bad aftertaste. It's
They're
all
right.
upside,
It goes away.
low
It's
percent. This is, could I possibly say, the perfect beer?
I know I've said that about other beers I've rated 10, so like...
But I mean this one, though. When I say 10, I actually mean this is full 10.
Yeah, you did say
no
it the
doubt.
other day about the other beer.
I did, but honestly, that was before I tried this, and now I think that one's a 9 and this is a 10, but we'll get to that later.
Another day.
This is either making it into the Pantheon, or I am getting ready to construct an addition so I can put this in the Pantheon.
Okay.
This is going to force me to make room.
Well, we all obviously need to take another additional small little break to collect ourselves, and then we'll see you in a second. So, Kara had grabbed Dew's arm to walk away. When that happened, the BTM and the MP freak the fuck out. They just lose their goddamn minds.
Yeah, quick movements, arm grabbing. That's their spirit lady.
Yeah.
Essentially. So, like, hands off.
And you're a leather-covered, aggressive-looking lady, so just calm down.
You're aggressive and they have sharp things.
Yeah.
Everybody just chill.
Take a breath.
It's difficult to trust someone who's been pure aggro for this whole interaction when they go, I'm going to try to calm things down. Violently grab someone, and it's like, yeah, we're just supposed to not react to that?
That's the problem with the people that handle that situation. Yes, we know you're here. Yes, we know what you're willing to do. Now shut the fuck up and let the brains solve the problem first.
It is interesting and very convenient that Dew speaks common when the mud people don't, and they live in the Midlands, and Dew lives in a whole other land.
Otherlands? The Otherlands?
Yeah,
There's Westland, there's the Midlands, there's the Otherlands.
You know, they're in the old lands. So,
Oldlands.
just that's interesting and helpful. But sorry, that was a side note for no reason that was not on my notes. But now we're gonna go back to my actual notes, which is that Richard is like, "Hey, Kara, chill the fuck out, let her go. Everyone needs to calm down. Just take a deep breath, okay?" He explains that the BTM are uneasy because people touching their spirit woman, it's a problem. She's important, and she carries the spirit, like all the prayers of all their people. So, like, just don't.
If you fuck with her, they will kill you.
Interesting.
That's that. You guys are big and tough and strong. They're also big and tough and strong. I've killed a bunch of them, but like they could fuck a lot of people up. So everybody here has advantage in their own way. Everybody can die. I've seen Reservoir Dogs. It can happen. Okay?
Oh, spoilers.
Everybody chill out.
And then after being like, we shouldn't like touch her like that because she's super important, promptly grabs the leather thong around her neck and pulls on it. And I was like, that's aggressive
Also,
and unneeded.
yeah.
I get that you're her husband, but maybe just like ask her to grab her necklace and give it to you.
Fine, hands off. I understand. Let me try and lead her like cattle.
Yeah.
That will make them happy.
Well, he's trying to pull out the Birdman's whistle, right?
Right.
But he could have had her produce that and not be aggressive towards her after saying it's a bad idea.
Right.
He explains to everybody that the BTM owed the MP a great debt due to the whistle helping with peace from the Majendi, which, okay.
I mean, it's important for them to point out that they are friends here.
Yes.
You guys had given us a boon, and then we were happy that you used it in the appropriate manner, and that, like, there is a common mutual respect there between you already. So all this aggression and you know, what is it called? Peacocking is what it is, but don't let it distort what's important.
I don't necessarily disagree with what you're saying, but it is also a little bit like, because he also says the MP owed the BTM a great debt for using it for good instead of evil, right? And they trusted the mud people to their gift to keep them safe. And my thing is, he told them that it was a gift to him, right? That he didn't tell them any details about the mud people. He just told them that if they misused the whistle that he gave them, he would come back and use other magic against them. So it wasn't really much of a choice because they're Kaharan told them either do it for peace or I'm gonna fucking come back and destroy you. And also, they knew nothing about the Mud People, and the Mud People didn't give it to Richard to use in this way. So, I mean, I get that we're trying to be friends here, but that's a real thin thread that we're all treading on because no.
You know what? Now that you say that out loud, yeah. Yeah, I was like, no, there should be some, what is it, cordiality between these people where you're just like, you know, you guys are over there, we're over here. We've had interactions in the past and no one had to die. We can be cool now.
Yeah.
There's no reason to start off on edge. But then Richard's been kind of being a dick to do.
Mm-hmm.
So they're already like probably a little pissed off to begin with. And then they got the Mud People fucks giving them a hard time. And yeah, I could see things popping off here. Actually pretty easy.
And Richard just walk around being like, you owe these people all this and that and this and that. No, we didn't ask for fucking anything.
Nobody's ready to de-escalate here.
Like, you just fucking you came into all these people's lands and did shit, and now you're telling them how things are supposed to be. Okay. I'm glad that they take it well. That's all I'm going to say about that.
I think, like, what Richard is saying is it's a rickety bridge, but I think there is a good message in what he's saying.
There is.
It's absolutely tainted by the fact that it's coming from hypocrite Richard's mouth, trying to tell other people that respecting other people's cultures is important. It's a little bit tainted for me, and for you, clearly, Jade, as well. And we talked about it off air. I know it's all three of us, but it's like, man, you're saying a good thing, but we know you don't act on the thing you're saying.
Yeah.
Well,
you don't do this, Richard.
Yeah, mind what people do, not only what they say. But he's acting like these people had any sort of actual choice in the matters of anything that he told them. Like, these people, you're a magical, powerful man who came in and you were the prophecy giver. Anything that you said is fucking Bible, right? Like, they don't have much of a choice because of their old laws. Honestly, they're like, they believe anything that you fucking say, so that's not a choice.
Or it's done under duress.
Right.
It's threatened, I'm going to kill you unless you do good. Guess we'll do. If they do good, a good thing still happened. But was the intent of those people to do good? Because they did it under duress.
Yeah.
You know what I'm getting?
It's a tough thing.
It's the fucking Godfather. I'm going to give them an offer they can't refuse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like how earlier when Duchailu was saying, like, you could have chose to die instead of kill everyone. I mean, yeah, I could have, but, like, does that actually do anything good?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you could do the thing that's good and prosperous for the community, or we can just let the Taglioni's visit you. And that's on you.
Yeah.
Not on us.
Yeah.
We weren't there.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Or whatever.
Or whatever. Or whatever.
So Gian of the BTM makes the first move. The hottest boy group of this era.
I like the name.
Makes the first move and thanks the MP for the safety and peace that they were given. Okay, cool. Chan is happy that they used it well. The BTM are welcome in their lands. Everybody's happy. We're gonna chill out.
Cool. We're
shake
cool.
some hands. It's
We're
all
cool.
good.
Yeah. The deeds were all good.
Yeah.
It's just difficult to interpret the intent because of what we know.
When everybody's comparing dicks in front of each other in this tense moment.
Yeah.
Kaylin decides to take Dew off for a little convo after Richard vouches for Kaylin as a revered person, like their spirit woman. So everyone's like, okay, cool.
And how did she do that, by the way? Just curious. Did she, like, just kind of reach out and grab Duchailu's arm?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So the exact same thing Kara did.
But
the exact same thing that Richard said don't do.
Right.
Then kind of did to Duchailu, and
No
now Kaylin's
lessons
doing
learned.
it as well.
Yeah.
Great.
It's fine, though, because Kaylin's like a spirit woman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of.
It's
Hey,
not
it's
about the
okay.
action.
I understand that our pawn mishandled your higher up, but our higher up can mishandle your higher up, and that's fine because this is our higher up.
Well, they're both wives, so it's fine.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, well, if it's just the women doing it,
Right.
does it really even count?
Or whatever.
Or whatever.
Kara,
See?
Kara is worried about this whole situation, but
Yeah.
Richard is like, I trust Kaylin's judgment. Plus, we can't waste any more time. While they chat, Richard asked Gian about the death of the BTM on their journey here. There were 3 deaths, 1 in battle, 2 more were accidents.
Hey, someone's going to have an accident.
You guys can't see my quotes, but they're
big
there.
quotes.
They're big
Very.
quotes.
I feel like they could feel them.
I
was
heard
hoping
it.
so.
I heard the quotes.
1 fell into the firewall on watch, and the 3rd one believed he could fly while on a really high trail, and then he was like smiling, like he was like when he saw the homeland for the first time when he did it. So it wasn't like, I don't know. He was happy.
Seemed to be of sound mind.
Yes.
It wasn't like he ate a bad mushroom, and had fucked up thoughts and was confused. Like, nah, he knew what he was doing. He thought he could fly.
Yeah.
That's just Fred.
I mean,
not
sound mind, I guess.
Well,
but,
yeah, true.
Yeah. This was confirmation for Richard, though, that the chimes aren't just where Richard and Kaylin are. It's widespread.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a couple of chapters now with different people being visited by the chimes. So to our knowledge, those were the only other instances happening. But now we know that those things are still loose and affecting more people.
Yeah, well, I guess the reader did have that knowledge that we don't know where Nora and her family really live. I don't think maybe we did, but...
As far as proximity?
Right.
Yeah.
We know that Roberta was up in the mountains near the
Valley.
Valley.
Yeah.
And we know that some people were getting drowned in the fountains in Ander.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Anderith.
it's the whole mountainside then at least, because it's highlands. Well,
maybe. We don't know where Nora is.
Well, Roberta was in the lower of the mountains,
yes.
right? And then we know that Nora was by the water.
Somewhere by a lake.
Somewhere by some water.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'm guessing, though, below the mountain.
Kind of.
Anderith has got to be the city between where they can get all the different resources.
If we want to pull up, which I don't know if we have the ability to, the map, we are definitely seeing chime activity from the Nerif Valley and from Anderith to Mud People and a bit north, because we know that Richard and Kaylin were headed north towards Aidendrell.
I would say we're going to get into it in the next chapter, I believe. Spoiler alert. But I think I think we're being drip fed some context clues, and that, I think a lot of this stuff is a little bit more centrally located than it's maybe intended to be showing.
For when we get into that conversation, I have the map pinned.
So the Mud People decide to start a fire because they're all chilling. Everybody's like, let's grab some beers, let's cook some dogs.
Hell yeah, dude.
Hell yeah.
Let's have a good time now.
This goes back to the off-mic conversation we had where Nate and I were trying to explain to Jade how sometimes male friendships work, and that you don't actually talk to your male friends. You just do stuff together.
Yeah.
And this is this. The 2 K-pop groups, BTM and MPs, they are immediately, it's a bunch of dudes who just go, oh, you're a good dude? Oh, I'm a good dude.
Oh.
You want beers and dogs? Hell yeah, dude. What's
Beers
your
and
name?
dogs,
Don't
bro.
fucking care.
I got dogs in my pack. Oh, I got beers. Oh, fuck yeah.
I don't need to know your name to be friends with you.
Is this the scene from How High when they pull up in the cars and they roll down the window and he's like, you got flour? And the guy's like, you got papers? And they're like, fuck yeah. And then they're just instant best friends. You're a good dude.
It's exactly that.
I don't know shit about him. I know the dude's got rolls of paper in his car.
Yeah, we're solid.
Fuck yeah.
But Richard stops him. He's like, no, can't do that. No fires, my guys. People need to avoid fires for now. He's like, Junie? BTM dude? No. No fires, no bullshit. And Chan's annoyed. He's like, my guy, we need fire to live. How we're gonna eat, how we're gonna cook, how we're gonna make our weapons, how we're gonna do anything. And Richard's like, I don't know. And he's mad back at Chan for being frustrated. But he's like, fire's gonna bring the evil spirit. So, it's bad. I guess you can use it, because you're saying you need to, but be fucking careful. And Chan is probably like, yeah, duh. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm simplifying things. I understand. Richard needs to give them the severe warning about this, but
I think it's similar to, like, maybe in a more modern sense, like stuff that can be wrong with cars, Like, I have enough knowledge about cars to know when something's wrong. I don't know how to fix it, though. But, like, if I'm in a car, or if I'm in somewhere, and all of a sudden it's like, clunk, clunk, and it's like, hey, you stop. Why? I don't know why, but you need to stop. Like, I know it's bad.
Yeah.
I don't know how to fix it. I don't have any more information. I can't tell you shit.
The engine's steaming. It's probably a good idea to not go anymore.
Yeah. Other than this is bad and you shouldn't, I can't give you more, but I'm just letting you know, hey, man, I don't think you should.
Well,
Which, that's a tough position to defend as soon as they ask one question and you have to throw your hands in the air.
Yeah. That's not good. Why is that? I don't know.
I just know it is.
I'm getting a vibe.
This might be a weird cut, but it's similar to like, hey, don't drink the water because there's lead. Well, okay, how do I have water? And they're like, ugh.
Yeah, so where do I get water?
We're working on that.
Yeah. Don't drink. Yeah, don't drink the water you have access to. So where do I get water from? Hold on.
Yeah.
We're just saying don't drink the bad stuff. Like, okay, but there's follow-ups. There's immediate follow-ups to that.
To both of your points, I know people living in Michigan right now that have to go get water coming from a natural spring because the shit that's going to their house is poisoning.
Yeah, up in the Rockford and Ada and all that area.
Down in Hastings, too.
Oh, down Hastings, yeah. I say there's been some pretty public Michigan stories about clean water.
It's fucking bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there is no suggested solution then.
Yeah.
They're just like, this is bad, figure the shit out.
I mean, I will say that I know that they did set up eventual like water supplies and things like that.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is that the government should be helping take care of those people when they're like, you can't drink your water. Okay, where is it? Richard in this specific instance is going, don't use your fire. Don't drink. He doesn't say don't drink your water, but he says don't use fire. And they go, okay, follow-up question, what do we use instead? And he goes, figure it the fuck out.
Yeah.
I mean, there was the whole thing about how he's saying, well, as long as you're educated and careful with a thing, then it's, the risk is mitigated a bit. But yeah, ultimately he just said, well, just be careful with it.
Yeah.
But it is also not super I don't know what the word I'm thinking of. Like he's restricting things they need access to for a greater good situation.
Yeah.
This feels like the exact opposite thing a dude like Richard would be okay with on the other side. Like, well, we need fire and water. We're just going to have to figure out another way.
Yeah.
But he doesn't offer that here. He's also not altogether wrong.
That's what I'm saying. It's hard. I know it's a hard thing. So I'm not really trying to shit on him entirely.
Oh yeah.
But I understand where Chan's like, give me an answer, my guy. Then
I was just gonna say it's just a hard call.
Yeah.
Yeah. Both parties are correct in what they're doing. No one is at fault here. There is no good guy, bad guy. We have extra knowledge to know Richard is right. We also know that Chan's right. Hey, I want to cook some food. You can't. So what do? I don't know. Well, then don't tell me I can't.
I guess cook food, but
yeah.
Have you tried sushi? You guys are near the water.
Just raw dough. Just got to eat raw dough.
Just dough, my God.
Which, I mean, if it's cookie dough. like,
is that the equivalent then of Richard saying, let them eat cake? Because that probably wouldn't fly.
He's like, have you ever had steak tartare? You just slice the people really, really thin, okay? That's all you got to do. So Chan, he does get more snarky here. He's like, basically, no matter what we do, the chimes are going to be killing people. Right? Mm-hmm. That's basically what you're telling me.
Oh, great.
We're just kind of fucked.
No matter what we're going to do, it's going to be awful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And Richard, at this point, admits that he thinks it was Kaylin that brought the chimes into the world while trying to save his life. Mm-hmm. So it's technically Richard's fault. Plus, he forgot to tell Zed some really important stuff, so he made it worse. And Chan doesn't get super mad at him at that point. He's like, hey, I know you're going to do what you need to set it right, but he does, like, hammer home the responsibility that Richard has to his people because of this.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, if you bring harm for any reason, you know that you need to do your best to set it right. So he gives a solemn word that he's going to take care of this or die trying, and Chan's happy that he remembers his fucking vow to do what he's supposed to do.
Yeah, if you're part of us, you're part of us, and this is you holding that up.
Yeah.
At least.
I think this is great, because I think it's something we've all said. Richard's kind of not that good of a leader of this many people. Like, now we also know he's got a lot of other shit going on. But like, Chandelin is doing what Chandelin should be doing right now.
Yeah.
100%.
And similar to that previous conversation, neither one's really in the wrong, but it's still good to see Chandelin like, hey man, I know you're in charge and you could probably kill me and you're more powerful than me. However, finger into chest.
Yeah.
You better do what's right though. Because otherwise, I'm going to be here. I'm going to die, but I'm going to come at you if you fuck this up.
Holding the leader accountable.
Yeah.
Because that is a good and normal thing to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
You fuck some shit up. Now we're all in some fucking danger.
Yeah.
And now I got to fucking watch a fire for 24 hours a fucking day. Cool.
Yeah.
Great. Fix it. And then he slaps him hard. And he's like, strength to Richard with the temper. May your anger burn hot and swift against our enemies. My anger at this whole situation has been burning pretty hot and swift, so I need another beer. So we're going to be back in like just a second. And we're back again.
Don't know if it's in there. Might be.
Noticeably calmer.
I had to get that out. That helps. Kara wonders if Richard's going to have any wives left after their little talk, seeing them on their way back here, which is surprising. They're both like, hey, at least they're both not bleeding and walking. That's cool.
I realize this is not the same thing, but this is like a classic guy sitcom thing of like, dude, look over there. And the guy turns in horror to watch his current girlfriend walking arm in arm with his ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that can't be good for me.
Paleo.
Oh, shit.
Buddy,
no.
no.
So Richard's like, I just hope I have one, okay? I don't even want this. I don't even want the second one. And Kara's like, hey, if not, we always got each other. We're always here for each other, you know? Me and you forever, best bud. And Richard's like, the wife position is filled. And you know what? Honestly, I don't think she was asking for a wife position.
No, I think that was more of just you clearly need a dominant female in your life, and I can be a dominant female in your life.
I was going to say, it felt like somebody was just picking at an open wound there, and Richard had to slam that one shut right away for reasons in his mind.
Well, maybe he watched the show, and he knows that if him and Kara hook up, it's probably not good.
Oh, yeah. They've read the fanfic for sure.
I'm just saying, it's not the worst idea in the world. They like just a little like they could be friends, and also she controls him a little bit if he needs to, and they get what they need. They get what they need.
Look,
That's
it is 2025. There is nothing wrong with a gentle femdom. Okay, there is nothing wrong with that.
When Richard reaches his wives. Stu tells him that Kaylin convinced her to talk to Richard, and he is lucky to have them both.
That's okay. I mean, yeah, but
good for her.
Yeah,
good for her. That's what I think for that. Like, hey, motherfucker, we talked, and you know what? We're both really awesome.
I mean, yes, that is good.
I desperately wish we would have been privy to what that conversation was.
That's where I was coming from.
Me too.
Because it's left unsaid.
Especially after the we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that.
All I'm trying to say is good for them, but if I was Richard, I would also be extremely sus as to that exactly.
Mm-hmm.
What did you guys talk about?
People don't 180. People don't 180.
Not like that. Not like that. In this book, not like that.
He doesn't get suspicious. He thinks of a fucking flip remark and thinks better of opening his mouth, which, motherfucker, you've made enough flip remarks.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody deserves your shit right now. You need,
Yeah, I mean, it's one where we get the insight that his thought process was exactly the same as it was 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
When we said it was a problem. You are not learning from past mistakes. That's kind of okay if no one relies on you. You are the leader of the majority of the landmass we are currently reading about. You need to be extra.
I do. What?
That's her name.
Yeah, you're right.
It was stupid. You weren't supposed to focus. I was expecting you to keep talking.
You spoke. I pay attention when you speak.
I
so I
laughed.
stopped talking, and now I might have lost my train of thought. No, okay, here we are. I do kind of like the idea that Richard isn't learning the lessons in the way that I've always liked that Richard is an imperfect hero. He does fuck up a lot. He does make mistakes. He does things that I don't necessarily agree with, but usually he learns the lesson. And that's kind of Richard's true superpower. He gets the thing. So I like to think that eventually he figures this shit out. But I just like that complication where it's like, no, you got to go through it a couple of times. And now he truly does understand why those things are important. But yeah, it's also frustrating as hell to be here and be like, man, we already been over this.
Yeah, it is just frustrating because even if you and Do aren't going to be wife and husband and wife in the traditional sense where you love each other and fuck, which she doesn't seem to be asking you to do anyways, you should have some level of understanding that, oh, she helped me get to where I am. She is important in my story, in becoming who I am, and she might have some important things for me in the future. So maybe I should respect her as a fucking human being who just walked across the fucking land to come talk to me because we don't have cell phones. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So to come tell me a message, she can't write me a letter, she has to fucking walk all the way over here. And instead, through all of this, he's still like, no, I don't respect you, and I'm gonna be a dick to you for even saying that I might be lucky to have you in my life.
And it's what you said at the top. This might be and is probably affected by the fact that we are reading 1 to 2 chapters a week instead of this being part of a 2-hour reading session where you read whatever, however many chapters that is for everyone's personal experience. But it's like, man, but in this format where we sit down and talk about stuff, this is frustrating because like you said, it feels like this whole thing is just dragging on when in reality, I read this Monday night. By Wednesday night, I'm 10 chapters past this and not thinking about this chapter anymore.
Yeah.
But since we're here, this is frustrating.
Yeah. And I think that's probably the first of today's Wizards notes. I know that there's a few actually that were actually jotted down in the Wizards spell book, notebook. Fucking no word. I don't have a thing for it yet.
Colo's journal.
Yeah.
These are notes from Colo's journal.
It's
so
happening.
good.
Oh my God, it's happening.
The magic, it happened.
I noticed an interesting parallel in Richard's actions this chapter and the actions of another character all the way back from Wizard's first rule. And Richard, in a slightly editorialized summary of things, has tried to ban fire.
Oh my God.
Every time I read this book, I get vibes like that, and I don't know how to rectify that in my brain. There's something that tickles.
I am very curious to see if this is brought up later, that Richard is starting to have a lot of similar actions to his very traitorous brother from Wizard's first rule.
Well,
what was his name?
Well,
Michael.
Michael, thank you.
At first I thought you slipped into Legend of the Seeker and you were talking about Dark and Rawl.
No.
But no, yeah, you're right.
Michael, the whole thing, Richard knew that something fucking crazy was going on with his brother because he was trying to ban fire.
Yeah.
But banning
you can't
fire
do that.
That came down from
Darkin. Yes. Yeah. But it's just, interesting that it was like, wow, look how far we've come. Richard is now doing the same thing.
What makes that
much different reasons.
What makes that more interesting, though, is that now he's acting like his predecessor, Dark and Rawl.
Daddy Darkin. Yeah, I told you he's coming back.
That's what I was saying earlier. It's like now you're talking about restricting resources. How can you justify that?
Yeah.
Or is it a matter of, look, I'm not saying no, but I'm saying this is advisory.
That's what he did that's what he pulled back to.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That might be the difference to where Richard recognizes that, okay, but we need to be careful about it. Get word to everyone. You're not I'm not going to say don't drink water, but fucking boil the water before you do, because it might be dangerous.
How? With fire? We can't use fire.
With all the hot air that I was born with.
No, I'm
Just
very...
get your dragon. Richard's got a dragon out back. Just use your fucking dragon. Heat
Dragon's
some
fire.
water. Fucking easy.
That's magic in and of itself. The chimes can't affect dragon. Where's Scarlet when you need her?
Are you
But
sure?
yeah,
Are you sure? What if the chimes? They could kill Scarlet because they could like get up inside her.
No, we are not
Like
talking
Richard?
about anybody killing Scarlet. I refuse. She's a
but
saint on this show.
I am very curious if this is followed up on. I definitely, when I had this thought, my initial gut feeling was probably not. But I'm hoping that there's maybe a throwaway line of like Richard maybe being a little reflective on things he's doing now as once he has the power of, or now has that responsibility of being a leader.
Richard being reflective. Well, that's our truth. And we would love to hear yours. Write to us in your journey books to podcastatt@gmail.com or find us on any of our social medias.
Glug, glug, glug.
If you would like to support this podcast and hear some more exclusive, wonderful content, go find us over on patreon.com/podcastatt.
Glug, glug, glug. Sorry, that beer was real good. I'm still drinking it.
Where every tier is a happy tier, and our Discord is like super awesome, and we do this thing every Friday where there's like this Friday check-in, and everyone has a really good time, and you should come join us there.
It is pretty great.
And sometimes Friday is a different day of the week.
Yeah, you know what? Sometimes Friday's Thursday. Sometimes Friday happened hundreds of years ago in a different book.
We don't judge timey-wimey stuff on this podcast.
Absolutely not.
Thank you all for listening. That's all for us, friends.
We'll see you real soon.
Toodaloo.
Bye-bye.